All right, Shalom. I want to start by saying, call law, YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles of Israel, aka the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and love to all the Akim. Continue to preach the truth and all truth and sincerity. All right, real quick. So, there's actually a couple things I want to get into, but this just happened. I guess this happened yesterday, since they're 8 hours ahead of us. But supposedly there was an attempt, or there was something that happened around Vladimir Putin's residence, some drones that supposedly Ukraine did, what have you. Now, obviously, the whole thing with Russia, Ukraine being a proxy, so Russia, in Russia's mind, they look at it as if whoever did it is NATO or America involved. But anyway, the reaction to said action, whoever did what, is Russia's nuclear-capable ORESHNIK missiles now in active service, Moscow says. Now, that's the title of the article, and that's where I got the title of the video. All right? Because now we're getting down to, like, the big boys about to party together. All right? That's Russia, America, China. You got things happening with North Korea. You got a lot of nuclear tests and a lot of nuclear deployments, nuclear submarine developments, and all that good stuff. That's all in recipe for World War III, which is inevitable, because it's going to happen. With that being said, I'm going to get right into this article, and Lord willing to be edifying, and I got a couple scriptures because I want to touch on this article and maybe get a couple more articles, all right? Because this is heavy, how we're going to bring in the so-called New Year 2026. All this wars and threats of wars, and it's intensifying. It's getting worse. On top of that, you still got the whole thing with the digital ID and you have the ultimate prophecy of all, the MOTB. Because it all plays hand in hand with each other, all right? So while these nations and these countries prepare for war, nuclear war, what else is also happening? They're about to bring in a new system, new financial system, because that's Esau's kingdom, his financial system and his militaries, all right? So this is from PBS News / Associated Press, and it reads, Russia's nuclear-capable ORESHNIK missiles now in active service, Moscow says. It says Russia's nuclear-capable ORESHNIK missile system has entered active service in Belarus. Russia's defense ministry said Tuesday, which is today, as the U.S. efforts to broker a deal to end the nearly 4-year war in Ukraine have entered a pivotal stage. The ministry released a video showing combat vehicles that are part of the mobile intermediate range ballistic missile system driving across the forest as part of combat training. The ministry's announcement followed a statement from Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko, who said earlier this month that the ORESHNIK had arrived in the country. I remember that year. Earlier this month, they said it arrived in the country. It said Lukashenko said that up to 10 such missile systems will be stationed in Belarus. Now, that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's just a little bit. But what is that also going to what? Joel 3:9. Proclaim you this among the Gentiles, prepare war. Beat your plowshares into swords. Those plowshares are the modern day plowshares are the missiles, man. Modern day swords are the missiles. All right? It says, Russian President Vladimir Putin said earlier this month that the ORESHNIK would enter combat duty before the year's end. He made the statement at a meeting with top Russian military officers, where he warned that Moscow will seek to extend its gains in Ukraine if Kiev and its Western allies reject the Kremlin's demands and peace talks, which I'm pretty sure they did, because I remember hearing that Ukraine rejected whatever the fuck Russia wanted, and Russia rejected whatever America, Ukraine, and NATO wanted. And it said the announcement comes at a critical time for Russia-Ukraine peace talks. U.S. President Donald Trump hosted Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky at his Florida resort Sunday and insisted that Kiev and Moscow were closer than ever before to a peace settlement. That's funny because every time these niggas meet, you have Zelensky meet up with Trump, and then you had Bibi meet up with Trump. Netanyahu. Now, what's going to transpire after these visits? Now, and I didn't see anything in this article about Putin's crib, but supposedly something happened by Putin's crib where a shitload of drones was at his crib. All right? It said the announcement comes at a critical time. Oh, excuse me. It says in Moscow were Florida resort, and instead that Kiev and Moscow were closer than ever before to a peace settlement, which is bullshit. That's complete bullshit. And that's another fucking lie. All the lies that these politicians and Trump, these presidents, everything they say is a fucking lie. You are not more closer than ever to peace talks, man. You're more closer to the nuclear war. But anyway, it says, however, Moscow and Kiev remain deeply divided on key issues, obviously, including whose forces withdraw from where in Ukraine and the fate of Ukraine's Russian-occupied Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, one of the 10 biggest in the world. Trump noted that the months-long U.S.-led negotiations could still collapse. But you just say you're closer than ever to peace. It says Putin has sought to portray himself as negotiating from a position of strength as Ukrainian forces strain to keep back the bigger Russian army. It said Russia first tested a conventional armed version of the ORESHNIK, Russian for hazelnut tree, to strike a Ukrainian factory in November 2024. Putin has bragged that ORESHNIK's multiple warheads plunge at speeds of up to Mach 10 and can be intercepted, and that several of them used in a conventional strike could be as devastating as a nuclear attack. You see this? This is what they talking about right now. This is from Russia. This is today. I'm about to say Russia today. This is from the Russian president today. Bibi and last 2 days, these niggas met with Trump in Florida, because Bibi was here yesterday, and Zelensky was here the day before. It said, excuse me. It said the Russian leader has warned the West that Russia could use the ORESHNIK next against allies of Kiev that allowed it to strike inside Russia with their longer-range missiles. Now, who's that mainly referring to? America. Because I believe that was American missiles, those Tomahawks or whatever the fuck they were. Those are Tomahawk missiles that hit deep in Russia not too long ago. It said the Belarusian Defense Ministry said Tuesday, which is today, that the ORESHNIK has a range of up to 5,000 kilometers, which is 3,100 miles. Russian state media boasted that it would take the missile only 11 minutes to reach an airbase in Poland and 17 minutes to reach NATO headquarters in Brussels. There's no way to know whether it's carrying a nuclear or conventional warhead before it hits the target. Intermediate range missiles can fly between 500 to 5,500 kilometers, which is 310 to 3,400 miles. Such weapons were banned under a Soviet-era treaty that Washington and Moscow abandoned in 2019. And that's pretty much it. So that's Russia, right? So let me get a scripture real quick. I want to get a couple more articles. I don't want to make this too long, but I gotta bring out these scriptures real quick, yo. Shit, might as well go for the favorite. This is the book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 9, and it reads, "Proclaim ye this among the nations. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles," which are the other nations at this point, in this text context. "Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up." And you go to the NLT, it says, "Say to the nations far and wide, get ready for war. Call out your best warriors. Let all your fighting men advance for the attack." Now, not only is that manpower, that's also what? What is their main part of their best warriors? Their missiles. Because yeah, you're gonna have boots on the ground, so on and so forth, but a lot of the weaponry in Esau's this day and age is technology. So these missiles, these rockets, these warheads, that's part of the warriors, because you said they elevate, they be elevating as far as like what kind of missiles and whatever they use, because it could be a conventional missile, and ultimately it's gonna be what, a nuclear missile. Verse 10, it says, "Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say I am strong. Let the weak say I am strong." Verse 10 in the NLT, it says, "Hammer your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Train even your weaklings to be warriors. Verse 11, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. And that's what's happening now. All these nations are preparing war. But who's going to be the major target? America. Now, I'm gonna get two more articles, and then I'm gonna get one more. So who was it? Oops. Fuck. China. Where are these? Oh yeah, here we go. Right here. Right here. There's another article though. This is from the Daily Mail, and this reads, terrifying Pentagon report sparks World War III fears after revealing China is readying intercontinental missiles. Now we got China. Now, what just happened over there with Venezuela? You had the Americans attack Venezuela. Now, come to find out, China is one of Venezuela's #1 top customers. Check this out. So when they attack Venezuela, it's like they're attacking China. So what? Venezuela is a proxy, just how Ukraine is. All right. So that's not making China happy. So if America, so that means that if China is one of Venezuela's top customers for oil, and America is attacking Venezuela, that's going to affect what? That's going to affect China's oil situation. And it's also going to affect what? Their whole situation entirely, whether it be for weapons or whether it be for whatever the fuck they got going on over there. Now, first paragraph, now this is from a couple days ago. So it says, China is readying intercontinental missiles, right? It says, starting off in the article, it says, a brand new report from the Pentagon has revealed that China has armed over 100 long-range nuclear missiles which could reach the U.S. in an all-out war. Now, if that's not a war, a threat of war, I don't know what is. And this is a top country. This is China we're talking about. Moab. Moab is in the prophecies. And remember, all the nations are. But Moab in particular, because the Lord got smoke for Moab too. But Moab's being used, and he's in the story. Okay, what the fuck? It said, oh my God. What the hell? Hold on 1 second. All right, here we go. It said the December 23rd report in Congress found China's military has placed more than 100 DF-31 missiles, which are powerful intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs, into underground launch sites called silos. These missiles use solid fuel, meaning they're ready to launch quickly. Oh, meaning they're ready to launch quickly without needing extra preparation, unlike older liquid-fueled ones that take longer to set up. And that's what the Lord said. When the Lord said prepare war, this is what the Lord was talking about. This is what the prophecies are talking about. These are the nations. Moab is another nation. That's a Gentile. So what did the Lord have the prophets do? Proclaim this among the Gentiles, prepare war. And now what are the Gentiles doing? Preparing war. And ain't no other religion, no other doctrine is saying otherwise. No other religion and their followers are giving their God, their idol, any credit or praise for what's taking place right now. It says the U.S. Department of War identified fields of missile silos in 3 remote areas in northern and western China: Hami in Xinjiang, Yumen in Gansu, and Yulin in Inner Mongolia near the border with Mongolia. Together, these fields have around 320 silos, but U.S. officials believe only over 100 are loaded so far. allowing China to potentially shuffle missiles around to confuse enemies and attack like a shell gun. Now, who would be your enemies? Your enemies would be America. Obviously, would feel that they're an enemy to China. And what did China say not too long ago? We are prepared to go to war with the United States. It said the DF-31 missiles can fly up to 6,800 miles, far enough to hit most of the U.S. from their launch sites in China. China tested one of these missiles in 2024 by launching it into the Pacific Ocean, showing it could travel long distances and land near places like French Polynesia. China's historic military buildup has made the U.S. homeland increasingly vulnerable. China maintains a large and growing arsenal of nuclear, maritime, conventional, long-range strike, cyber, and space capabilities, able to directly threaten American security, and the new report warned. Now, that's something that should be on the news. That should be nationwide. That China is now talking stuff they could hit anywhere the U.S. You got Russia talking about they can hit somewhere in the U.S. You got North Korea talking about they can hit somewhere in the U.S. You got Pakistan talking about they could eventually hit somewhere in the U.S. Iran. You got all that. This is World War III. This is the third woe. It said the Pentagon believes this buildup is part of China's plan to have over 1,000 nuclear warheads by 2030, making their forces more ready for quick counterattacks if they detect incoming threats. And remember, the whole thing going on with China and Taiwan, you can't forget that. Because why else would China be doing this, talk about threatening America? Because why? America sticking their nose in their shit. The whole thing with Venezuela, it affects China. The whole thing with Taiwan, it affects China. So they have pressing business. They have mutual partners. Or mutual enemies, if you will. Whichever you want to, whichever. It says it's the latest sign tensions are inching closer to a breaking point as China and the U.S. battle for influence over Asia. It says, according to the Department of War, China's big picture goal is to become a global superpower by 2049. That's all you heathens looking too far ahead, if you ask me. It says, with the world-class military that can protect its interests and rejuvenate the nation, including taking control of places like Taiwan that it claims still belong to the communist nation. Now remember, they've been talking, China been talking about, Taiwan belongs to us. Now, Taiwan, shalom. It's right. It said the Chinese Communist Party is believed to see keeping its power, growing their economy, and defending territorial claims as its core interest that it will never compromise with the U.S. on, no matter what. So that means we're at an impasse. It said the new report warned that China is building up its military to be ready to invade or blockade Taiwan by 2027. 2027. It's about to be 2026. It says practicing large exercises that include long-range strikes, which could also hit U.S. forces trying to help. Hold on. Let's get that real quick. This is what YAHAWASHI said. That's what the YAHAWASHI said. Now get this. The disciples asked YAHAWASHI, and this is the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 3. And it says, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world? And in the NLT, it reads, later YAHAWASHI sat on the Mount of Olives. His disciples came to him privately and said, tell us when all this will happen. Tell us when will all this happen? What sign will signal your return and the end of the world? And YAHAWASHI answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. And I'm jumping down to the point. In verse 6 it says, and you shall hear wars and rumors. I'm going to read that in NLT. This is Matthew chapter 24, verse 6 in the NLT, and it says, and you will hear wars and threats of wars. Oh, you will hear wars and threats of wars. You will hear wars and threats of wars. But don't panic. Word, come. Don't panic. But don't panic. The Lord, Yahawashi said, but don't panic. So we remember the prophets, a lot of the prophets, a bulk of the prophets of YAHAWASHI, we're in America. And we want this to keep going. You got people talking, you're crazy. Why would you want the place you live in to be nuked? Because I hope to be delivered up out of it. But it needs to be done. And these things must take place. Like Yahawashi said, it says, and you will hear wars and threats of wars. But don't panic. Yes, these things must take place. But the end won't follow immediately because why? Well, we still know that got to take place. The MOTB still got to come to pass. Now they get into that too, but you got to remember, before the nuclear war, the nuclear destruction comes, they have to prepare for it. So that's why the Lord said, prepare war. So this is all for the preparatory workings for the day of the Lord. So it's not going to just be like the chip comes, then the nukes come. They have to prepare the nukes. What is the whole thing about when you cooking a meal? Prep. You got to prep. It's all being primed. America's being primed for the destruction. These devils and these heathens, they're being primed for the takeover. Yahawashi's takeover. Because when America's destroyed, it's not going to be like, oh, it's going to be Russia, China, Japan, and Europe. And it's not like all these countries are going to be like, oh, yeah, now we could go, now that America's out the way. No, it ain't going to be like that. Once America's out the way, everything's going to shift. Because this was the country, this is the place that made all y'all rich in the first place. So it's not going to be nothing to replace this place. All right? So, this is Matthew chapter 24, verse 7. It says, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. And you read in the NLT, it says, nation will go to war against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in many parts of the world. Now, there's been earthquakes in many parts of the world. There's been famines. There'll continue to be famines. You had the whole, not even a food shortage, but you got to where shit is so expensive that people can't afford food. You have the whole thing happening with the, the cost of living and all that. People deciding what bill to pay, whether to get food or pay electricity bill, water bill, so on and so forth. The cost of everything is skyrocketing. And that's also part of this devil's cruel wrath. Because aside from all the violence and destruction, this devil's cruel wrath is going to come what? Through his power, which is his money. And who's at the top of that forefront? Amalek. Them small hats. Them tiny caps. All right? Excuse me. Yeah. So that was it on that. Hold up. So it says Pentagon officials also noted that China believes there is bipartisan agreement in the U.S. Congress to contain their rise, with the Chinese growing more and more frustrated with America's alliances throughout Asia, specifically with Japan, which is someone that America bombed in World War II, South Korea, and the Philippines. It said despite growing tensions that have led to nuclear weapons being armed, a senior official from the Department of War told the Daily Mail the White House and Pentagon are working to de-escalate the situation. You keep talking about you're working to de-escalate the situation, but yet it keeps escalating. And it's going to keep escalating until bombs fly. It says President Trump seeks a stable peace, fair trade, and respectful relations with China. The Department of War will support the president's intent by opening a wider range of military-to-military communication with the People's Liberation Army and seeking other ways to make clear our peaceful intentions, the senior official said in a statement. See, that's words smooth as butter, but war is in his heart. See, they talking like, oh yeah, we want peace and I'm a peacemaker and it want to de-escalate it, but that's not what your actions are saying. Hold up, let's see what that's saying. Let me get that real quick. It's that Psalms. Where you at, Psalms? Is that one? Psalms 51? Or no, it's at 50. What, am I tripping? Hold up, hold up. What? Okay, bear with me. Hold on. I know it's in Psalms what I'm looking for. Hold on. $55. Oh yeah, 55. I know it's 50 something. Oops. So this is the book of Psalms, chapter 55, verse 21, and it reads. It said, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet they were drawn swords. And that's Trump. That's Trump. That's America. That's Esau for you. Because even these other Edomites are talking about peace, but yet they what? Prepare for war. Putin talk about he want peace. Ukraine talk about they want peace. Trump, America talk about they want peace. EU, NATO want peace. But like, if y'all all this how you, well, even though this is not according to the Lord's will, but like, if you want to talk about the logic they're using, if y'all really wanted peace, all y'all would say, yo, you know what? Let's just all get rid of our nuclear weapons. Simple. And let's all use the earth together and whatnot. No, they don't, because what? Esau's greedy. These other nations are, everybody just got an Edomite kind of mentality. Everybody want to be the head guy. But, so I'm reading that in NLT. This is Psalm chapter 55, verse 21, and it says, his words are as smooth as butter, but in his heart is war. His words are as soothing as lotion, but underneath are daggers. And that's what that's just what Trump just said. Look at this. It says, President Trump seeks a stable, peace, fair trade, and respectful relations with China. The Department of War will support the president's intent by opening a wider range of military-to-military communications with the People's Liberation Army and seeking other ways to make clear our peaceful intentions, the senior official said in a statement. Your peaceful intentions? You mean the same peaceful intentions you have and had in Venezuela? Those same peaceful intentions you had with Iran in June? That's bullshit. That's how you know it's bullshit, man. But now the Lord has revealed you. Now the jig is up. But they got to keep up this facade because they don't want to say, oh, yeah, just take it. They want to make it seem like they're still seeking peace. But no, but war is in their heart. It says, a 2024 report by the Federation of American Scientists, a nonprofit global policy think tank, revealed that there are 12,121 nuclear warheads scattered across 9 nations. Those nuclear-armed countries, included the U.S., Russia, China, France, India, Israel, North Korea, Pakistan, and the UK. Russia still outnumbered the U.S. by several hundred warheads. However, the two nations control roughly 88% of this global stockpile, with Russia reportedly holding 5,580 bombs and the U.S. possessing 5,044. China has been among a group of 5 countries, including Pakistan, India, Israel, and North Korea, that have been quietly increasing in nuclear stockpiles over the past 40 years. The new report by the Pentagon put China's current count of nuclear warheads in the low 600s, meaning the growing military power in Asia is expected to increase that number by roughly 100 per year this decade. Let's hope they even increase more. But you see where they're going? They're beating those plowshares and the swords. They're preparing war. They're getting ready. Let the weak sound strong. North Korea, Pakistan. Was Iran mentioned? Yeah, Iran wasn't even mentioned. But you got to remember, this is what they're revealing. Remember all these treaties and all that. Remember the whole thing with Russia and America. That treaty was they said that was dismantled in 2019. So they ain't been so who's really keeping track? Now this was known as of right now, which has been documented, but it could be way more than we know. I can't say that. I speak as a man. But at the end of the day, it could be way more because this thing got to come quick. But like I said, as far as prophecy goes, none of these bombs, these nuclear bombs, are going to fly until what? They implement the CHIP. So that's one thing we have to continue to watch out for, because they're just going to continue to ramp up the war stuff day to day, because this ultimately preparing for that great day. So hold up, let me get Jeremiah. Oops, you know what? I'm going to blue letter. Jeremiah. Now, you go to Jeremiah, the 50th chapter. What verse? I'm gonna jump through this. I'm gonna read verses 14. I'm gonna read verse 14. So when you go to Jeremiah, the 50th chapter, and it talks about Babylon, the Chaldeans, that's talking about America present day. Because when you read verse 13, which I'm gonna read it, it says, this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, verse 13, and it says, because of the wrath of the Lord, YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wildly desolate. Everyone that go by Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at all her plagues. Now, ancient Babylon has been inhabited again after it went down. It's now present-day Iraq. So it's not wildly desolate. It's not a wasteland. So it's not talking about ancient Babylon of old. Excuse me. It's not talking about Babylon of old in the ancient days. I'm gonna read that in NLT. So this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, verse 13, and it reads, because of the Lord's anger, Babylon will become a deserted wasteland. All who pass by will be horrified and will gasp at the destruction they see there. Now, what's going to bring that destruction? Now, granted, the Lord is coming with fire and the angels and the heavens and all that, but what's ultimately the chariots? But what's going to trigger it off? The ones made by man's hands, the missiles, the ICBMs, the ones that China said that could touch the West Coast, touch anywhere in the U.S. as a matter of fact. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, verse 14, and it says, put yourselves in array against Babylon round about. All ye that bend the bow, shoot at her. Spare no arrows, for she hath sinned against the Lord. For she hath sinned against the Lord. I'm reading that in NLT. This is Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 14. It says, yes, prepare to attack Babylon. Yes, prepare to attack Babylon. Babylon, America. When you go into Revelation, 17th chapter, 18th chapter, 19th chapter, that whore, Babylon the Great, the daughter of Babylon, that's talking about America. Which art to be destroyed, that's not talking about Babylon back of old days. That land has been inhabited again after the empire went down. But after this empire goes down, the Babylon the Great empire goes down, it should not be inhabited again. It says it's going to become a deserted wasteland. It says, yes, prepare to attack Babylon, all you surrounding nations. Let your archers shoot at her, which those are those missiles now. Those archers are the missiles. Those are the modern day arrows that's going to go to and fro. These are the missiles. This is the technology that could travel across continents. One side of the earth to the other, from the east to the west. It says, spare no arrows, for she has sinned against the Lord. Now, how has she sinned against the Lord? Look, first off, look what our people have been, look what our people have become in this place, man. Running rampant in sin. Running rampant in sin. The land of our captivity. And on top of being that these Edomites are in a position of power, look how they were carrying themselves. So it's a bunch of reasons why the Lord is going to completely obliterate this place, and it shall not be inhabited after. Verse 15 of Jeremiah chapter 50, it says, shout against her round about. She hath given her hand. Her foundations are fallen. Now, that's all about America. Aside from the destruction coming, but look at America now. Businesses closing. The foundation of America is falling. Manufacturing, you ain't got damn near nothing created here. Everything about that's what the Lord said. Babylon is fallen. It is fallen, and shall not be risen back up. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. All right. It says her walls are thrown down, for it is the vengeance of the Lord. Take vengeance upon her as she have done. Do unto her. Now this is rightful payback for America. All the wickedness, all the violence that is perpetrated throughout the earth, all the treachery, all the just fucking bullshit. It's all about to come in that fire that's going to come here. That's your recompense. That's your payback. You reap what you sow. You sow destruction, you shall reap destruction. That's what's coming to America. Complete, utter destruction. I'm reading that in NLT. This is Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 15. And it says, shout war cries against her from every side. Look, she surrenders. Her walls have fallen. It is the Lord's vengeance. So take vengeance on her. Do to her as she had done to others. And that's ultimately going to be when YAHAWASHI come back. That's when they're going to really surrender. That's when that's when everybody gonna know it's over for this place. When YAHAWASHI is seen coming here, because the YAHAWASHI is gonna fly over all the nations. They gonna see YAHAWASHI. They gonna see YAHAWASHI coming here. They gonna see that great, powerful, majestic being, and the company he's coming with coming over here. The one who you ignorantly call Jesus Christ. His name is YAHAWASHI. They're gonna see him coming here. And we're going to see how truly blessed America really is. Oh, God bless America. Yeah, God blessed America for a time, but the blessing is over. The blessing has run dry. Now it's time for your destruction. Now it's time for the recompense. It's Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 16. It says, cut off the sword from Babylon, and him that handleth the sickle in the time of harvest. For the fear of the oppressing sword, they shall turn everyone to his people, and they shall flee everyone to his own land. And we read that in NLT, it says, take from Babylon all those who plant crops. Send all the harvesters away, because of the sword of the enemy. Everyone will run away and rush back to their own lands. Now, you got a lot of heathens here that's going to go back to their own lands. And you have a lot of heathens going to be destroyed over here in America. You got a lot of heathens, because that's a conversation me and brothers always have about these heathens fleeing into their own land, because shit, in this day and age now, you have heathens that like second, third generation here. So you have a set of grandparents, parents, and children, right? Like, for instance, where I live around a bunch of Elamites. So there's like little kid Elamites around here. So like, more than likely they were born here. More than likely, hypothetically speaking. So they were born here, and they had parents that were born here. The grandparents came from whatever country whatever country, whether it be India, Pakistan, China, whatever. Now you have it to where like you have at least 2 generations that were bred in America. But You're gonna have a lot. You have a lot of heathens that came over here like within the last few years, trying to reap a little bit of benefits from the horde. Those gonna be the ones that definitely might go back. I remember, even though he was a Jake, I was I had took an Uber ways back, and I might have been like 2022, 2023 roughly. I was still living in my other crib before I moved. He was a Simeonite. He came from the DR, but he said he came here in 2018. So he had been there for a few years, been here for a couple years. And I asked him, like, so like, what you think? He's like, yeah, I don't really like, you know what I'm saying? It's not what I thought it would be. Now, mind you, that's a Simeonite. But these heathens, some of these, remember, it said that they live deliciously with the horde. So these heathens all come here because they could live better than Jake. So you had heathens that built families here, that built a life here for themselves in America. But this bitch about to be destroyed. That's what you said. Con word smooth as butter. Yeah. It's right. That's right. Ends of the world, shoot from the ends of the world. Those arrows, those missiles, see, that I said, like, you know, I mean, I can't say that it's obvious, but like one would make you think, like, all right, when you read that, what arrow did ever somebody shoot from a bow and arrow with man's hands go from one side of the earth to the other? It's humanly impossible unless it's some superhuman. And we know that that's not going to be the case with these heathens. They're not going to get spiritual powers. All their power is in their military might. These missiles, these submarines, these drones, that's their military might. That's the best they got. But Yahawashi coming back with he coming back with, man, shit. Man, Yahawashi, he gonna make a speedy riddance of you heathens, man. You know? But yeah, man. I want to go 42 minutes. Yeah, man. It's on, man. The water for the precepts, man. Yeah, definitely, man. That's right. Plays it. Actually, I'm gonna get that. What's that? Second address 16. Second address. Read that. Second address 16. Second address 16. Second address 16 was at 13. Oh shit. Might as well start from the top. Second Esdras chapter 16 verse 1, and it says, woe be unto thee, Babylon and Asia. Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria. Now it's funny because what is America known as? Spiritually what? Sodom and Egypt. And also Babylon. Right? Oh shit. Might as well read all the way down. Verse 2 of Second Esdras chapter 16 verse 2, it says, gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair. Beware your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. And that's not just Esau, all you nations, man. Syria, Egypt, you Hamites and you Ishmaelites that's over there in Egypt, Asia, fucking Chinese, Japan, fucking Philippines, Vietnamese, Taiwanese, all you, it's all for y'all. The Lord ain't just got smoke for Esau. The Lord said, there will I sit and judge all the heathen round about. All right, verse 3, and it says, a sword is set upon you, and who may turn it back? Now, who's going to turn these missiles once they're shot? The same way you can't turn the missiles, like no one could turn the missiles that America shot at Venezuela. No one could turn the missiles that Russia, Ukraine is shooting back and forth. No one could turn back the missiles that they're shooting over there and that they shot over there in the Middle East with the small hats and Palestine and Hezbollah and all of them. You can't turn the missile back once you shoot it. All right. Verse 4, and it says, a fire is set among you, and who may quench it? Now, what bow and arrow got fire? Shoot a fucking bow and arrow, and it shoots fire, and it causes mass destruction. Yeah, fire is set among you, who may quench it? And who's going to quench it? It says, verse 5 says, plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away? Just like what's happening to America. Look what's happening to America. It's not going to go back to that great place it once was. Make America great again. That ship has sailed. The glory days are behind. There are no glory days ahead. Only days ahead is ahead to this place going down and it ultimately being what? Destroyed. Hold on. Here we go, verse 13. This is the brother posted. Second Ezra chapter 16, verse 13, and it reads, For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss, when they begin to be shot into the ends of the earth. Into the world. And that's those missiles, man. That's those missiles. And they prepared. Because what it said, Russia said what? They're now active. They're active. And it's going to get more activated more and more. So that's how we know that the MOTB can't be far behind. The MOTB, they're going to be rolling out within, it got to be soon. I say, yo, by this year, this upcoming year, about to be 2026, so-called 2026, by this year, they have to bring in a whole lot of the beast system, yo. They have to. They have to. With all of this digital shit, all this tracking and all of this fucking surveillance, everything, it had to be this year. I hope that it's this year, because they said they want to do a lot they want to have a lot done by 2030. So we're gonna sit with that. So this is the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 16 verse 14, and it says, Behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. And there you go. These plagues are sent. The plagues are sent. And aside from the missiles, the plagues sent to what? Babylon the Great being destroyed. The plagues are sent. Just like the time of what? Egypt. Once the plagues were sent, they didn't come back. Who could draw them away? Remember once the Lord put all those plagues on Egypt, who was able to drive them away? None of the people could. The Egyptians surely couldn't. Hell, the Israelites couldn't. No matter how much they wanted to stay in Egypt afterwards. And what happened to the Egyptians? They got destroyed. What's going to happen to the American Empire, American dynasty? The city spiritually known as Sodom and Egypt is going to be destroyed. And it's going to be by the what? Thermonuclear destruction, which is what China's getting ready for, America's getting ready for, Iran, North Korea, Russia, all these nations all these countries and nations, they're all getting ready for nuclear war, deploying intercontinental ballistic missiles, nuclear submarines. We're getting down to that great day. That great day is approaching. The sound of destruction is in the land, a mighty destruction. How ye, for the day of the Lord is nigh, it is nigh at hand. And the end it shall speak. And that's what you see happening right now. Joel, the 3rd chapter, is speaking. Revelation, the 13th chapter, 18th chapter, 19th chapter, 20th chapter, Jeremiah, the 50th chapter, all these chapters, they're all speaking. Isaiah, the 14th chapter, Isaiah, the 13th chapter, Ezekiel, the 36th chapter, it's all speaking. The words are coming out the pages. And the Lord has even said the prophets beforehand to now what's happening now, to now is no excuse. Now no one can say, well, I didn't know, I didn't hear. Everybody heard of the truth now. Everybody heard the prophets on the highways and byways screaming their lungs out. But yeah, man. But at the end of the day, it's just for the elect. So with that, Lord willing, this is edifying. I'm gonna give all praises to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM Kakadash. Double honor to the powers of Israel, aka the powers of Great Millstone, and peace and love to all the Akim. Continue to preach the truth and all true sincerity. Shalom to those brothers watching. Shalom. Was it lights? Was lights out? Lights out, devil? Yeah, lights out, devil. Yeah, 11-2. Shalom, man. Good looking on the precepts, man. Yo, we almost out of here, man. So with that, I'm gonna say shalom.